many students will graduate from Bible college, seminary, never knowing who Jesus is and never knowing what the gospel is. Then why go to school? John chapter 2 in your Bibles. Now, we had fun at the start of the class with Mark chapter 6. I need to go back to that, please. Just for a moment. We need to set this up. We're in John chapter 2, the marriage at Cana. You're going to learn some things tonight that perhaps you didn't know before. Who's got Mark chapter 6, please? All right, Brandon. Jesus had brothers and sisters. Read that, please.
Starting in verse 3? Or?
Yeah, go ahead with that.
Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James, and Joseph, and Judah, and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him.
Okay.
That was Mark what?
Mark chapter 6 and verse 3. They were offended at it. Well, for him, it's just another day. Now, Jesus, as you remember, grew up in Nazareth. Now, let me teach you something about him. You will remember in the Bible that Jesus was able to read in the synagogue. This tells us something about his childhood, regardless of what the educational channels say. For him to be able to read in the synagogue, that meant as a young boy, he went to the synagogue and had to take classes on this. This is why at the age of 12 he was allowed to speak in the synagogue the way that he did. He had taken these proper classes. Apparently he has graduated and done well. He goes back to, in Mark chapter 6, he goes back to Nazareth. He's on a preaching tour. Let me try out my hometown. It was a catastrophic disaster. In one gospel, you'll see where they actually tried to kill him. And these are the guys that he grew up with as a child. He grew up with these guys as a child. And now here they are trying to kill him. And because of that, he wasn't able to do a lot of the things there in Nazareth that he wanted to do. And if you read down a little bit further there in chapter 6, you'll see where he went out to the villages. Does somebody see that? He went out to the villages. What verse is that, please? Verse 6. He went out to the villages. You know what we call that today in the year 2012? Yeah, he went out to the burbs. All right, Ben, did you start that?
Yeah.
Okay. He went out to the burbs. They don't want me in town? Hey, I'll hit the suburbs. We'll try it there. So he has 4 brothers. He has 3 sisters. And all 4 brothers are going to be 4 of the original 12 apostles. Now, let's go to John chapter 2. Because we're going to the chapel. Okay. And as scary as I remember that song will come out. Okay, so anyway, the Dixie Cups. All right, so, chapter 2, verse 1. And the third day, stop. The third day. Why the third day? Why do Jewish couples prefer to get married on the third day of the week, which we call Tuesday? Let's give them. Yeah, let's let them have some fun. Why do they prefer to get married on Tuesday? Jewish couples.
Middle of the work day?
Nope.
Or work week?
If you will read in Genesis on creation, on the third day, God called his creation good 2 times. On the third day. So Jewish couples get married on the third day, on Tuesday, hoping to get a double blessing on their marriage. That's why that they do it. And the third day, then, was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there, and both Jesus was called and his disciples to the marriage, and when they wanted wine, the mother of Jesus saith unto him, they have no wine. Okay, let's stop here. They're in a little town called Cana. It's up around the Sea of Galilee area. And all of a sudden, Jesus needs to be there. His mother needs to be there. And all the apostles are there. What? It's just a marriage. Why do they need to be there?
So Jesus can turn the water into wine.
No. That's later.
Oh.
They built a church on this site to memorialize this event. The church is still there. Recently, they were doing some excavating inside of the church. They found a memorial stone celebrating the marriage of Joseph. What's the four names of Jesus' half-brothers? James, Jude, Simon, and Joseph. So the thought is, Joseph's getting married. Little Joseph's going, he's getting married. Oh no, he's going to get, oh no, I remember when he said like that. No, okay, shut up, he's getting married. All right. So Jesus is there, and one of the giveaways is that his mother is on pins and needles. Mary's on pins and needles about this. Here's why. Whew. A marriage took 7 days. A marriage took 7 days. Now, there were 3 ways to do this. One, okay, the old-fashioned way. Boy meets girl, girl meets boy, boy sees girl, girl sees boy. Boy says go to her dad. Dad, you go to her dad, you strike a deal, and me and girl and me are going to get married, and every time they go to the town, they're batting their eyes at each other and smiling, or peeking around a corner doing something like this. You know, the way, back when we was in love and acting stupid. So dad would meet with her dad, they strike a deal, they go down to the synagogue, get married, live happily ever after. The next way that it would happen is that this couple over here has a baby boy, this couple over here has a baby girl, and both couples like each other, they love each other, and all this kind of stuff. Let's make an arrangement that when our children are at marrying age, they will get married. And all that they know, all that their life is that I'm supposed to marry him, he's supposed to marry me, I'm supposed to marry her, she's supposed to marry... It's all been arranged since we were little kids, and when we reach official marrying age, we'll do it. Okay. Then there's the third way. And I feel so sorry for the girl. She meets her husband for the very first time at the altar. That's the first time she ever lays eyes on him. And her dad got with his dad. Hey, you got some nice looking cows there. I tell you what, your son wants my daughter and I want your cows. Done. And so then there's also the times when the boy hasn't met the girl yet. It's all been prearranged. And when the minister says, you may now kiss the bride, buddy, when he's getting ready to raise that veil up, he backs up a couple steps. Okay, you don't know what's up under there. Kind of like, was it Jacob and Leah?
Right.
He wakes up the next morning and, I can't wait to see Rachel first thing in the morning. I bet she's so beautiful first thing in the morning. And he rolls over and pulls the covers back and, hi, Jacob. And he's going, who do I have to kill? You know, good grief. So these Jewish weddings could get complicated. I mean, listen, there are times the girl didn't know she was getting married until she got out of bed that morning. And you got about a 13, 14-year-old girl who this morning wakes up, and tonight when she goes to bed, she's married, she's got a husband, and might be with child. All in one day, and leaves home. And, okay, what did you say your name was again? And that happened a lot. All right, so you got a couple here. They're getting married. The evidence is it's Joseph, one of Jesus' brothers. Mary is livid. She is on pins and needles. 7 days of this. 7 days of feasting and partying. Now, here's her problem. If this feast goes wrong, then for the rest of her life, she is a disgrace and social outcast. This feast has to go right. It's got to go right. And somewhere in this feast, they run out of wine. Now, I got a word I want to spell for you. The Greek word is oinos. O-I-N-O-S. O-I-N-O-S. That's the Greek word from which we get the word wine. It can also mean grapes. It can also mean raisins. It can also mean a non-alcoholic form of wine called sweet wine. There is no evidence that Jesus ever made hard liquor. There's no evidence of it. As a matter of fact, it did not have time to ferment. It just had time to pour the water into the pots, and he does the miracle. Now, so at this time, when Mary comes to Jesus, now think like theologians for a minute. Think. Why does she run to Jesus?
Because she knows he can do it.
He can fix it.
He's the head of the family.
No, he can fix it. Yeah.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
But right now, she don't care about the head of the family. She needs this fixed.
And he kept the scriptures, honor thy father and thy mother.
Yeah, he didn't want to. He didn't want to. Okay.
What does he mean by that?
We're going to get to that in just a minute. We'll get to that in just a minute. I don't want to leave anything out. I want to set this up. Okay, she runs to Jesus. Can you fix it? Which means that in the past she has seen what?
Miracles.
Miracles before. She knows he can fix it.
Like the time he built that house, he's like.
And what gospel was that in? So anyway, all right. So Jesus says unto her, and look, does he call her mother?
Woman.
Mom?
Woman.
No, he's mad. Okay. Woman, I don't know you. Go away from me. Listen, mine hour is not yet come. Now what's he saying here? That at this particular time in his ministry, he wasn't ready to make a public display of himself. Like he would be. Like in John chapter 11 when he raised Lazarus from the dead. That was very public. Matter of fact, it was so public that in the 12th chapter of John, the Pharisees wanted to kill Lazarus. That was a public display. When he raised Jairus' daughter from the dead in Mark chapter 5, that was a public display. At this time, he was not ready yet to do it. But I'm going to ask you something. Have you ever done something for Mom when you didn't really want to? Don't turn around. You ever done something for Mom when you really didn't want to, but it's Mom. You know, this is Mom. And we've done it for Dad. And Jesus is telling her, listen here, my hour is not yet come. It's not time for me to start this stuff yet. You understand that? Mm-hmm. And probably he was a little bit mad at her because what's she doing? She's twisting his arm. But I'm your mother. I'm the one that gave birth to you when I was still a virgin. Oh, Mom, don't throw that in my face. See these stretch marks? You did it. So anyway. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And look at what she says in verse 5. It was hasty. It was presumptuous. But it's the best advice I can ever give you. Let's all read verse 5 together. His mother says unto the servants, whatsoever he saith unto you, do it. That's the best advice I can give you. Just do it. Except when what he says, just do it. Okay? Now, so in verse 6, there was set there 6 water pots of stone, after the manning of the purifying of the Jews, containing about 2 to 3 firkins apiece. I think that comes to approximately 120 gallons. What you got there, Dan? Dale, excuse me. Did you look it up?
Yeah, I'm trying and I can't find it.
It says 18 or 27 gallons is what it says in mine.
Okay. Now, firkin is 9 gallons. Who's got a cell phone?
9 times 3 is 27.
All right.
I don't need a cell phone.
6 water parts. Or let's say 2.5 firkins apiece. 1 firkin is 9 gallons. 2 times 9 is 18. So you're looking at, we got to divide 9, which is 4.5, 18, 22.5 gallons apiece times 6. 6 times 22.5.
124.
Yes. 132. Okay, I said 120. Depends on if you want to carry that half or not. So it's okay, 120, 132 gallons. Let's just say 125 gallons. 125 gallons of water. And I want to tell you something. These cisterns were not these pretty little vases that you see the lady carry on their shoulders or up on the top of their head. No, these were some monsters. These were some big rocks. And they were hewn out into water parts. Okay, now. So in verse 7, Jesus says unto them, fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. He said unto them, draw now, and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bare it. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, he knew not from where it was, but the servants which drew the water knew. And the governor of the feast called the bridegroom, and said unto him, every man at the beginning does set forth the good wine, and when men have well drunken, in other words, when it's all gone, then they bring out the wine of a lesser quality. But you say the best for now. Okay. Now this is where we get into what Jesus is trying to say. Sarah, please. Ephesians 5:26. Ephesians 5:26. Okay. Hang on just one second, please. What do we start with? What substance do we start with?
Water.
Water. Now Jesus here is trying to say something. See, a lot of people get hung up on the wine part. There's nothing there to get hung up on. Because that's not the point he's trying to make. The point he's trying to make is it's going to take 2 things to get you into heaven. And the first thing it's going to take is the water. The water has to come first. Okay, Pastor, what is the water? Don't listen to me. Listen to the Bible. Sarah, please, Ephesians 5:26. Washing of water by... All right, now go to John 15:3 very quickly. Gospel of John 15:3, please. Go.
Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you.
You're clean through what?
The word which I have spoken.
And in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 26, it talks about the washing of the word. All right, so the first thing that you need to hear the gospel is that you need the word. In the Bible, the water is symbolic of the word. The water is symbolic of the Word. Okay, now, volunteer. 1 Corinthians 11:25. Whoever gets there first, raise your hand. 1 Corinthians 11:25. Okay, Sarah, go.
After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as often as you drink it, and remembrance of me.
Well, what's in the cup? No.
Wine.
Think a little bit. What would be in the cup? You drink it. Wine. Wine is in the cup. The wine in the cup represents his body, the blood. Okay? It represents, thank you, it represents his body, the blood. And here's what Jesus is trying to tell them at this marriage, at this feast. Okay? Thanks, Mom. Wasn't ready to do this today. But since I was pushed into it, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to tell the world my very first miracle, the first miracle that we have on record, is how to be saved. And first, you got to hear the Word. The Word is what washes you. You're made clean to the Word, John 15:3. Ephesians 5:26. It's the water of the Word that washes us and regenerates us. Okay? Then you need what? After that, from the water to the wine. The wine is His blood. It's going to take His blood for us to be saved. All right, does anybody have any questions? Because I want you to see that. Now, please, if you do, stick your hand up, and I'll make sure that Vinda answers them. Okay. Any questions? Anybody not see that? Because for so long, the marriage at Cana has been controversial because people look at the wrong thing. They focus on the wine. Jesus made wine. That means I can drink. That means I can get drunk. So I can get me a beer. No, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying through the first miracle, yes, his mother pushed him into it. No, he did not want to do it. No, it was not his time. But his mother did push him into it.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Not really related to the blood and water, but we spoke the significances of the 6 pots. I mean, the miracle would have been just as great if they'd been in 1 pot.
Maybe that's how many was there. If they were out of wine, you got several days to go, a lot of guests. If you got an empty water pot, you might want to fill it up and do something with it. This is for his mother. This is for his brother. This is for his brother's marriage. So probably he wanted to give it all he had. They got 6 water pots. You now got 6 pots of wine. Does that help any?
That's one of why we
Yeah.
had the trouble with this one. The number of pots.
Well, could it be that there was,
How many people were there?
Well, let me tell you something. When I wrote a paper on this last year, or year before last, and I racked and I researched and I racked. I'm just like you. What's the 6 pots? What is that significant of? And nobody ever had any ideas, and neither did I. All I can think of is there's a lot of guests there. You're looking at about 125 gallons of wine for a lot of guests, and this thing's supposed to go for 7 days. And apparently they're already running out. So,
And they had to actually put their cups into the bowl. I mean, they didn't have your spigot
yeah,
or
they didn't have
sanitary.
these in.
You know, I mean, can you imagine everybody taking their dirty cup and it's like,
Double dipping.
Okay. Now, when we come down to verse 13, and verse 13 through 25, there's no need to spend a lot of time here. In the Gospel of John, there are 4 Passovers, which tells us Jesus was in the ministry for about 3.5 years. He goes through 4 Passovers in the Gospel of John. Now, this one is his first one. This is his first one. Why does he get angry? Something in verse 14 gives us an idea. He comes up to the temple, and he finds those who are selling oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. Okay, here we go. In those days, Chad, you and your wife run an animal business at the temple. It's time for the Passover. It's time for the Passover lamb. Either I can't find one that meets the specifications, or I have, or whatever. Anyway, I'm pulling up to the temple with lamb in tow to go into the temple and sacrifice my lamb. Now, there's a bunch of inspectors sitting there, and they look at my lamb, and they say, that thing is blemished. It's got anthrax. I mean, you name it. It's got brucellosis, or whatever they call it out here. And I mean, that thing is just a wreck. And I look, and it looks pretty good to me. Well, it's not going to make it. You can't take it in there and sacrifice it. Now, what you can do here is pick out a lamb that we have here in the pen and buy him. And as a matter of fact, here's one that's in good shape. You know, they strike up a price and they switch lambs. I take mine on into the temple. They watch and see I'm out of sight. Here comes
My name's Josh.
Josh. He comes up. He's dragging a lamb. They look at it. Josh ain't going to make it. This lamb has got disease. This lamb has got scurvy. This lamb is just rancid. It's not going to make it. So what you're going to have to do is leave your lamb with us and buy a lamb from us. Well, they sell him the lamb that they just now took from me. They had a scam going. Had a scam business going. And then you'll notice that the money changers, that has to do with the banking industry. So what they were doing was that they were turning the temple into a scam house. I mean, a place of dishonest gain, dishonest business. And Jesus, who was not going to put up with it, he makes a little makeshift whip, and he starts cleaning house in a hurry. Now, what does that tell you about Jesus?
He has a short fuse.
He can.
Yeah.
He can have a short fuse if there's a short fuse about the right thing. What else does it tell you? What does it tell you about Jesus physically? He's a pretty robust guy.
He makes quite a bit there.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he can take care of himself. What did he tell Pilate? John chapter 18.
12 legions of angels.
He told Pilate, the only way that you can crucify me is if I let you.
Oh yeah, he's powerful, no matter what physical form he has.
The only way that you can crucify me is if I let you do it. That's the only way. Okay. Well, the Pharisees are angry. I wonder why. Okay. So, verse 18. Then answered the Jews and said unto him, What sign showest thou unto us, seeing that thou dost these things? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I'll raise it up. Then said the Jews, excuse me, it took us 46 years to build this thing. And you claim that you can tear it down and build it back in 3 days? But Jesus was talking about what? Himself. He was already looking forward to Calvary. He already knew that's where he has to go. He's got to make it to Calvary. All right, now, so verse 22. When therefore he was risen from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this unto them, and they believed the scripture and the word which Jesus had said. And when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover, in the feast day, many believed in his name when they saw the miracles which he did. But Jesus did not commit himself unto them, because he knew all men, and needed not that any should testify of man, for he knew what was in man. All right, stop here. Jesus probably most of you don't remember Elvis. I do. One of the things that killed him was that every doctor wanted to be his doctor. And as his doctor, what would be one of the things that the doctors would cave in on?
Prescription medicine.
Prescription.
There you
The
go.
one that makes selling some drugs.
And one way to keep your job is keep them happy. There's doctors that gave him stuff that they knew he shouldn't have. But he's Elvis. And what? You can't trust people who hang around you when all that they are is a gang of groupies.
Was it Michael?
Exactly. Michael killed himself because everybody wanted to be his friend. Jesus understood this exact same principle. People are hanging around because right now I'm trendy, I'm hip, I'm what's happening, I'm what's going on. I'm healing the sick, I'm raising the dead, and you name it, and he was doing it. And everybody wanted to be his little groupie. Now when we get to John chapter 6, we're going to see where one time this groupie gang got so bad that Jesus had to turn around and verbally put them in their place. It got so bad. And so this is what he's saying. He knows what's in the hearts of men. He knows why they're hanging around. And he's not going to commit himself to them. Here's what I'm saying. I want to close with this because some of you in here are going to wind up in the ministry. Some of you are going to wind up in the ministry. And as God begins to bless you, you're going to start having groupies. Now, all 4 times that I've been to the Soviet Union, but especially the first time, when the government had not got these people quite under control yet, we had thousands of people who followed us everywhere that we went. The only way to get rid of them was to get on a bus and leave. Everywhere we went, we had women walking up to us and asking us to marry them. And if I can remember, I'll bring you a photograph. There's about 4 or 5 women in this photograph in a straight line standing beside me, and all of them wanted me to marry them. Because here's what would have happened. We'd have gone down to the U.S. Embassy. We would have got a marriage license. We would have got married in that embassy. They instantly become American citizens. So I asked one of them one time, I said, I'm already married. What about my wife in the United States? Oh, we kill her.
Well,
Last count I had, she's still there. One woman walked up to one of the guys from the team. If you take me to America and marry me, I have you 10 children. Last count we had, she's still over there. Okay, and that list goes, and finally the government has had to crack down on it. Y'all got to stop this. Now someday, some of you are going to be in the ministry. Someday God's going to take what you learn here and bless you with it because you're tired, you're worn out, you've had a bad day, you didn't feel like coming here tonight, but you came anyway. And now watch this. God's going to take what you've learned and use it. Your honor and glory. But as God blesses you, you're going to have groupies. Follow you everywhere that you go. They want to know about everything that you do. Where do you live? Let's see, so far over there in the Soviet Union, I've been asked, where do I live? How much money do I make? What is my position in the American government? Is it true that the streets in front of my house are made out of gold? Let's see.
Gold.
wondered why your streets are so bad.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, and we was asked all kinds of things. And it wasn't just in the Soviet Union. It was in all countries. Every country I've been to. But do not commit yourself to these people keep a loving but healthy distance from these people. And whatever you do, don't ever be alone with them. Don't ever be alone with them. Now, on my very first trip over there, a woman came up to me. She had 3 children, and this is what she told me. If you will take me to the grocery store and buy me $2 worth of groceries, you can have me for 1 hour. So I got a couple other guys. We went to the grocery store. She bought her groceries, all that. I paid for them, but you'll notice I didn't go alone. I had a couple, 3 other pastors with me. And then when it was over, she said, okay, where's your hotel room and what time do you want me to be there? And so just out of curiosity, I said, what are you going to do with your kids? Well, they can sit on the floor at the door out in the hallway. And I said, no. I gave her a gospel tract, and I said, I want you to take this home. I want you to read it. I want you to read it to your children, and there's a prayer at the end, and I want you to do it. You do that, and we're even. And she fell at my feet and started crying. They were hungry and had no money. So everywhere you go, just like Jesus, you're going to have these people. Do not be alone with them. Do not go off alone with them. Well, they seem like I could trust them. No, you can't. My wife is constantly reading to me another story of a guy who brought a Russian mail-order bride over here. I said, yeah, what happened? She ripped him off and went back to Russia. I said, that's par for the course. That sounds about normal. So will you remember that? I want you to remember that. Okay. Now, for next week, this is not necessarily a homework assignment, but I want you to study John chapter 2 for next week. It's not necessarily a homework assignment, but study John chapter 2. And when we come back next Tuesday night, I'm hoping to knock out about 2 more chapters. Okay. That's all I've got.